I'm Sam Clements Stewarts, and I'm farming here at Wharepahanga in the Waikato with my wife Penny, and in partnership with my parents Murray and Robin. My family's been farming in the area for about 4 generations now, but this is only our 3rd season in our new venture sheep milking here. So before that we were a traditional sheep and beef finishing farm here. After about 4 or 5 years ago we started looking into the sheep milking industry and thought it looked like an exciting new venture in a way we could add some value to our business. So yeah, we decided to take the plunge and convert. And we're now pretty much halfway through our third season, milking 1,000 sheep this year, twice a day, and they'll be milked for 9 months. From 1st of August to 1st of May we'll be supplying the dairy factory, and alongside the sheep milking side of the business we're also finishing 300 cattle a year and about 800 Romney lambs. Yeah, the farm's 365 hectares, and we were looking at ways to generate some extra income and value out of the farm, and sheep milking appealed as something that we could do that was a little bit cheaper than buying more land and could still drive the same level of income and profit. So yeah, we took the plunge and got into that, and the first season we milked about 680 ewes. Last year was 820. And then this year we're just over 1,000 ewes twice a day.
Is milking sheep popular around here, or where did the idea come out of?
Milking sheep's still relatively new in New Zealand. There's a few people that have been doing it on a commercial scale for 7 or 8 years now. So yeah, about 7 or 8 years ago, Scotty Chapman and some other investors got together with PAMU, who's Landcorp, the New Zealand government, and established a partnership to start milking sheep in New Zealand. 8 years in now, so they started with some embryos they got out of the UK. Yeah, started off on a farm down in Taupo down there. Yeah, they leased a few farms and scaled up the flock before taking on any other farms. And so we are the 14th supplier to come on and supply spring sheep. So there's been a couple more suppliers since then, and there's also another dairy company in the Waikato with 10 suppliers. So there's probably about 25 farms up here in the Waikato milking sheep now. And the main reason the Waikato is where most of our commercial milking flocks are is there's a milk dryer up here that can process and dry our powder that's small enough to do sheep, because most of the dairy factories in New Zealand are massive, like Fonterra, and you'd have to run the dryer for about 10 minutes and turn it off and clean it. But yeah, so the milk's going over to Ruakura, to the Melody dryer. Majority of the milk is getting dried for infant formula base powder, and then we're also supplying some milk to a cheese maker down in the Taranaki, and now we're getting Spring Sheep's just launched some cheese into the US market, specialty cheeses over there, as well as the infant formula that's getting exported to Asia, China, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Vietnam. So there's a few places, some of the Middle East now. Yeah, so they're just slowly expanding some of those markets. That's where most of it's going, into infant formula.
So what breed of sheep are you actually milking?
These sheep are called a Zealandia, which is a breed that spring sheep have bred themselves. So they got some East Frisian embryos out of the UK and started with them, and they've crossed the East Frisians with the French Lacoon, and there's also been a few other sheep from the Middle East, such as the Wasi and Manish and other breeds like that there's a little bit of, but yeah, they're more East Frisian than anything else. But yeah, so they've now bred them for long enough that they've trademarked their own breed of Zealandia, which I guess is a sheep they're aiming to get high milk production out of on a grass system. New Zealand's a little bit unique, the same with our dairy farms, that we're predominantly pasture based. So most other countries that are milking sheep, the sheep are predominantly housed indoors and the feed's cut and carried to them, whereas our sheep are outside all year round, including lambing, walking to the shed every day. The only time they're getting supplements is in the shed for milking. Yeah, they're getting about 2 kgs of pasture and forage crops in the paddock each day, so that's mainly grass and chicory, and then they get up to 1 kg of in-shed feeding in the spring, and then that sort of tails off to half a kg later on. But yeah, these sheep are walking up to 5 kilometres a day, coming back and forth to the shed for milking. So yeah, they're walking a lot further to get to those good pastures than they are overseas.
Lambs that you're finishing, what sort of growth rate do you have off them?
Yeah, some of the growth rates are really good, especially in our crossbred. So we run a A and a B flock at mating, and for our B flock we use a Suffolk black-faced terminal ram. so it's easy to identify the lambs. Sort of 800 to 900 lambs on automatic feeders that we take them off mum at sort of 4 days old, and yeah, rear them on ad lib milk until they're around 18 kgs or 5 weeks old. Some of them are growing at 400 to 500 grams a day when they get closer to weaning. We did some lambs on a milk fed contract called Monavale lambs that we finished to the works, and yeah, I think I weighed some over a 8 or 10 day period, and yeah, the best of those Suffolk cross lambs with these girls were putting on about half a kg a day. So yeah, I mean these milking sheep have got quite a big frame. They're quite big ewes. Like the really big girls are definitely well over 100 kilos, and then when you put them over like a blackface ram, get some hybrid vigour. Yeah, we've had some phenomenal growth rates in those lambs this year, eh? So that's been really good to get them finished early.
Tell me a bit about your parter. What sort of spec is she?
The dairy shed here is a 42-a-side herringbone, and most of our plant in here is all De Laval out of Germany. So yeah, De Laval have got a pretty big market share here in New Zealand, and Pratt's PML, Zach Pratt in the Tiamutu did all of our engineering and plant, and yeah, they're really good to deal with. So yeah, they designed all of these stallings, and sort of I guess it's a bit of a new setup. So we went around a lot of the other dairy sheds that had converted before us and looked at things we liked and didn't like. Yeah, just getting the width of the stallings and the length and how deep the feed bins need to be and all that sort of stuff. One of the main differences is the rapid exit, so that makes flow a lot quicker because the sheep milk out so much faster than cows. It just means that as soon as the row's finished, you can lift it up. They all take one step forward. The grain refills while they're stepping forward, and then it comes down and the next row runs in. Whereas with a normal herringbone shed, all the cows would have to exit out the front. You'd have to wait for them all to walk forward to the front, and then the next row can come in. Whereas with this, it just goes straight up and down. And they just step forward, and it just pretty much as fast as we can cut them, they're ready to go. So two of us can milk sort of 400 to 450 an hour pretty comfortably after lambing. That side of it's quite good, and then yeah, the in-shed feed system works really well in terms of being able to, we can adjust the motor timer and the speed on the motor with the in-shed feeding, and sort of get it to within 50 grams probably of accuracy on a per serve feed. So being able to feed to within 50 grams is important with the sheep, because they're only eating less than a kg in the shed compared to cows that might be eating 5 kgs in the shed or 20 kilos a day. You know, these sheep are eating a much smaller amount, so you sort of need a feed system that's need a really accurate feed system. So sort of really pleased with the design we've got from Livestock Feed Systems.
What are some of the benefits of sheep's milk compared to cow's milk? Why do you think more people aren't drinking it?
I think the main reason consumers and customers are liking sheep milk is it is more easily digestible. So in particularly the baby and the infant and toddler space, when you compare cows, goats and sheep milk is the most comparable to human breast milk, and babies can digest it in about 20 minutes, whereas it takes them about 2 hours to digest cow's milk. So we find a lot of people that try their kids on cow's milk and it gives them an upset stomach, and then they try sheep's milk and it works really well. Because the sheep don't produce as much milk either, they have a lot higher milk solid concentration. So every glass of sheep milk, you've got sort of double the amount of protein and good fats that you do compared to cow's milk, and it's all A2 as well. Yeah, the more trials they're doing, the more benefits they're seeing from the sheep milk, and same for people that are lactose intolerant as well. A lot of people that can't handle the lactose and dairy cows can have sheep's milk. That's probably the main thing. It's got a much higher milk solid percentage. So over the season, the average is probably around 18% milk solids. every glass you're getting that extra protein, and because we can dry it at the new dryer, we can do sort of all sorts of high spec requests. Spring sheep can do high spec requests where they can take some trans fats out or do custom skim blends. A lot of sports brands and stuff like that are looking at it for an ingredient and sort of premium products for athletes as well now. So yeah, over the next 5 years, our plan is probably to just focus on improving our genetics now. So the last 3 years, we started with about 700 sheep, and then we went to just over 800 last year, and we're just over 1,000 this year, which, given our paddock sizes and our farm layout, number here probably suits the farm well. So now we're probably ready to just really focus on our genetic gains and try and improve the sheep that we've got and get more litres out of the same sheep, you know.